Well, boys and girls, the Australian Open Day 1 is in the books, and lots of action went down, and it was exciting, as always. Federer took care of business. Djokovic took care of business with a little scare in there. So we're going to look into all that happened and take a look at some of the big matches that went down and look ahead to Day 2 at the Australian Open.
Welcome to the slice.
Welcome to the slice.
Welcome to the slice.
Well, folks, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, and you might notice I'm wearing a new shirt. This is the Australian Open 2020 limited edition collector's item tee from the Slice Tennis. It's got the old Australian Open or the Australia country behind the Slice logo. A little bit subdued, keep you fresh on and off the court. So this is going to only be available during the Australian Open. You can get it on the website. And, this is just an ode to Australia. I love Australia. Spent some time down there after Australia, actually doing a bit of tennis coaching in Perth, Australia at the North Beach Tennis Club. If any of you are watching from there, that would be absolutely mind-blowing, and that'd be so cool. So, yeah, you can check out these only available during the Australian Open shirts on the website. Stay tuned as well for, obviously, because we're swagged out here. Stay tuned for the Style Watch, where we're going to be checking out the players' outfits at the Australian Open. Should be up soon on the YouTube channel. But what happened in Day 1 action at the Australian Open? Federer played, Djokovic played, Serena Williams played, Coco Gauff played. Lots of good players playing, lots of action happening. Federer took care of business, defeating Steve Johnson. Oh, before we get to that, articles. Articles are coming out from your boy and from other people on the website. So that's also on the website. Just go down to recent articles. Check them out. The latest one is on which next-gen player is going to win a Grand Slam first, and if that's going to happen in 2020. Now, Federer took care of Steve Johnson like we all expected him to. 6-3, 6-2, 6-2, firing 11 aces and hitting 74% of his first serves in, which is great numbers for him. His serve has to be working well for him to have a chance. And it appears the commentators were saying, he didn't play the ATP Cup. He came in here after Dubai, but it's obvious that he was not sitting on the beach in Dubai. He was training hard. He looked absolutely crisp. Steve Johnson's obviously not the guy who's really going to beat him. Federer would have to do something terribly to be in a position for that to happen. He'd have to be not working well, but he looked aggressive. He looked focused, and it looked like he was just trying to get a good sweat in and get focused and get into this Australian Open in his first official match of 2020. Looked amazing. Perfect start for Federer. Djokovic, on the other hand, also won, took care of business, but it took 4 sets versus, like I said, a dangerous Jan-Lennard Struff. So Djokovic hit 14 aces over the 4 sets. He only won 55% of his second serve. Now, the German Struff is aggressive. He's huge, so he can maybe get to Djokovic's second serve, which is not necessarily his biggest weapon. And he was obviously able to punish him a bit on that. Broke him 4 times. So I don't think the stumble, having a 4-set match, means anything. You might think that it's because he played 6 matches at the ATP Cup. There could be some tiredness. I don't think so. From the highlights I saw, Struff's just a good player, and he's kind of a crypt on these Australian Open courts. Big hitters, fast players are dangerous. So that's what probably happened to Djokovic, but he recovered in the 4th set and took care of business in 4 sets. Denis Shapovalov, though, Canadian brother, lost. Tough first round match versus Marton Fucsovics from Hungary. Tough match for him. Wasn't good mentally and let that one get away from him. Didn't play his best tennis. Unfortunately for Chapo, Genie Bouchard's also out. Felix Auger-Aliassime yet to play his first match versus Lord Gulbis, Ernest Gulbis. Anyways, Stefanos Tsitsipas won easy against Caruso. And friend of the show, Dan Evans, came back from 2 sets down to win his match against Mackenzie McDonald. So legendary performance from Dan Evans. He's a fighter. We all know that. He's the fighting Brit. He's also Britain's #1 player. And, he's a friend of the show. That's just awesome. He's a Slice follower. We might send him one of these shirts. Probably not, because I don't have his address. He doesn't even have Instagram. That's how much of a rebel Dan Evans is, if you were wondering. In other news, Dimitrov also won, losing the first set, wearing some ridiculous clothes, which I'll preview in our Style Watch coming very soon. Now on the women's side, number 1, Ash Barty won in 3 sets.